I'm called the conductor, my mama, I love her, eat breakfast for breakfast and MCs for supper. Call me big brother, students, I love you, teaching you skills to keep food in your cupboard. I'm here to serve, forget what you heard. When I say what up, y'all say yeah. Privileged and honored to be here. 15 years ago, I was in your shoes, class of 2012, but it started that journey at a convocation. And I can share the pictures with you later. We wore baggy suits. They only had one side. We all just hopped in it. It was a different time. But the point is, I'm honored and privileged to be here today, not only as a legacy of my father, class of 84, as a graduate alumni, but also as an employee. I worked with the TRIO, Department of Student Support Services, rather. So if you need anything, I'll let me talk about that later, all right? Find me in the library. But today, we're talking about GRIT, right? We have our acronyms for GRIT. My wife came up with this last night. I had to remix it a little bit today in the shower. But graduation requires intention and tenacity, all right? So when you think about GRIT and what we have to do to get from here to the class of 2027, walking with like shaking your hand, doing all the things as wild as you want to, because it's Cheyney University, with perspective, whatever. But the point is, as you graduate, it's going to take a lot. You have to set intention. You have to be intentional about the time you spend, intentional about the company you keep, intentional about what you choose to say about yourself and the people around you. Words have so much power. Students know the power of words is a poem that we talk about, and that's words, the power of words, the power to heal, the power to hurt. So when I use the power of words, I'm only just loving the power of words. We'll talk about that a little bit later when we come to our TRIO events and then many other collaborations we have with folk around the building, around the space. But that's the first thing I want to share with you. The second thing is the WOLF acronym. All right. So as I was thinking about what makes me a wolf, what are the qualities of a wolf? What are the things that wolves have to face, right? And I thought about the W. The W is who am I? Say, who am I? Who am I? That was cool. It was a little dry, a little crusty, like grandma feet. We're gonna run that back. Say, who am I? Who am I? There you go. You have to ask yourself that question. I'm obviously a black man, proud black, black. But growing up in a white neighborhood and then going to an all Latinx, mostly Puerto Rican high school in North Philly, I didn't really know what black was until I got to Cheyney. And I learned whether you're from New York or Nigeria, we're all black, it's all black excellence, right? Whether you're from a farm, you're from a small town, whatever. But it took me a while to figure that out, and I was up here trying to be hard, trying to be something I wasn't. I was thinking like, I didn't even know what being a man was at 18, right? So figuring out, like, you don't have to be fighting, you don't have to be trying to get all the ladies, you don't have to be the best dressed, but you do have to be intentional with your word, impeccable with your word. For agreements, we'll talk about that later. And being black is just being yourself and reflecting the royalty of those that came before us. So when we think about who we are, when I had a friend of mine ask me to be his vice president, I'm like, well, P and Oka, they running against us. I don't know. He said, they are friends, they want to still be our friend if we go against them. It's about what we can do as a collective. Ended up being class president the next 3 years after that, and there's a bench on the quad, so if you ever want to sit down and donate by the class of 2012, we did that. I look forward to the legacy that 2027 will be behind. But let's fast forward. That's the W in the book. The O is one chance. Say, I need a one chance. You didn't say nothing, bro. I can see you looking at me. Your eyeballs is on my eyeballs, and I didn't see. You don't gotta do that. I didn't even hear it, all right? Try that again. Say, I need a one chance. I need a one chance. It was good. That was solid. All right, we all get one chance, right? You're all here today, and sometimes it only takes one chance to mess that up. I want to share a story about one of the times that I wasn't reflecting royalty. I wasn't being my best self. I was a freshman. It was my first time drinking while I was a classroom. Now, should I have been drinking? No, right? This is a dry campus. You shouldn't do that, first and foremost. That's what I'm saying, all right? But as I was drinking with them, I was in Tubman, which we called Club Tub at the time, and that's because that was the culture in which we made it, right? But we decided to do that because we didn't understand the value and the importance of that building. At the time, it was an all-girls dorm, residence hall, rather. And not only was I trespassing, not only was I breaking the law, underage drinking, dry camping, all of these things, and regardless of being class president and a member of the Honors Academy, I decided to take a chance, the wrong one, and drink, and not only being so messed up, tore up from the floor, as they would say, in the bathroom. I was found by 2 public safety officers, and as they spoke to me, walking me back to my dorm and cleaning me up, I had stuff everywhere. It was a mess. One of the lowest points of my life, what I took from that moment was them telling me, you're only 18, you're gonna burn yourself out if you keep on drinking like this, if you keep on partying like this, you keep trying to live up to these expectations and trying to be something you're not, hanging out with upper class people who really just want to see how messed up they can get a freshman. Also telling me they've seen people come and go like that before, and I don't need to be one of those people. And as a campus leader, because as I discovered who I am as a leader, right, a man of black excellence, a man of integrity, that's not a good reflection of those that came before me, and I need to do better. And that was a moment of grace that was given to me that allowed me to exhibit and show my grit. I couldn't have done that if I wasn't given that chance. Sometimes we all need a chance, and that's a moment that I don't think I would have gotten if I was not at HBCU. If those were white officers at a different university, I would have been bagged and tagged, and we wouldn't be speaking to me today. I was already a juvenile offender. May 5th, 2005, weapons on school property. That stayed on my record. It was sealed, but I didn't know because I've been teaching, so I'm thinking I'm cool. Until 2021. So we make mistakes, and yeah, I said one chance, but sometimes you get more than one. So let's make the right decisions now and not have that reflect on other people, all right? That was the O. The L is life be life, and say life be life. Life be life. Woo! Chalet. So, life do be life. And in case you're wondering, that means life happens to us when it happens. Now we've been changing it. So, when I say life be life, it's because things happen. And as a freshman, I remember breaking up, arguing with my ex at the time, and thinking she was my everything, my first girlfriend, playing house and all of that. And I remember, seriously, I remember that heartache, and I would not go to class because I would rather make up. I would rather get to the bottom of it and saw what my parents argued. I saw the way, I'm watching TV, I'm thinking that's what we have to be this happy relationship, right? And that was toxic. Fast forward, junior year, sophomore year, a young lady told me that she was pregnant and the baby was mine. So, like any episode of Mari, I believed her. We moved in together, and even though he was named Kyle III, you can ask a couple of alum here, I brought him up to Cheyney all the time. I found out that my next child was not my kid. And during that time, you can imagine, so, but when that happened, I learned that, for one, just to be honest, I wasn't going to class. I was drinking more, smoking more, working more, just forget these women, I'm out here trying to do what I'm trying to do and get to this bag and get out of here. But that was brief, but I did end up changing my major senior year, which means I had to take 54 credits, do 5 internships, to graduate on time, right? Because that was the timeline that I had created. So I did all of that in the school year, 13 in December, 21 and 21, kept my scholarship, pledged my fraternity, but I still made it and graduated with honors because I had a certain level of grit, and I couldn't have done that if I didn't have the support. Dr. George is right here front and center. She knows I had a French class that I had to take 3 times, 1, 2, 3 times to get my degree. But it finally came a year later, and I was talking to some people, the term super senior, as long as you finish, you finish. Your journey is your journey, your timeline is your timeline. The average age of a college student as of 2 years ago was 24.6 years old. You would think it's 19, but Google me. Not right now, I'm still talking. But that's the thing, all right? That's the L. The last is F, for future. Everybody say future. Future. That was a good one. Y'all getting better at this. All right, cool. So, future. It's not about where you start. It's about the people next to you and how they may shape a role in your future. I didn't know Brother Perry would be my colleague. He was just a dude I seen around campus. I didn't know Desiree would be working here. I didn't know Kenitha would be it was first name. Don't call him that. But the point is, I didn't know that the people that I was going to basketball games with and hanging out in the cafe with would be people that were my colleagues. I didn't understand my professors and even lunch ladies. Shout out to Miss Paulette, y'all know how they will grow to be people who would really look out for me in the future, whether they're a customer with one of my business or their sibling or whomever is here in front of me today. So you want to be mindful of the people that you cross paths with, because who you see on the way up is who you see on the way down. Ebbs and flows. Speaking of up and down, I've been fortunate enough to go through the ups and downs of 5 years as the CEO of my nonprofit. 3 years ago, we opened a community center in West Philly. 2 years ago, we bought the building. We raised $100,000 in 100 days. And now, we're over $1 million business, and we have dozens of employees and young people we pay as young as 10 years old to learn and serve. And we've been able to give out over $10,000 in scholarships to Cheyney University students in the last 2 years. So,
yeah.
But that's the WOOF. So that's the acronym WOOF. The last thing I want to leave you with is questions, because when we talk about the ups and downs of life, it's important that we remember who we are, the things that we've already been through. I forget the things I've gone through sometimes, like being shot 6 times, out on a hospital table, being a juvenile offender, having a baby mama drama or not baby mama. Shout out to my wife and my real son. But that was that. So I just want to. All right, so answer not yet, but I appreciate that. Like my man right there, I got something for you. Look at this. I couldn't tell what color it is. Shout to the glasses. Yes, I got something for you. I love the intention. All right. Stand up if you come from a single parent household. Y'all play ball. Stand up if you come from a single parent household. If you or someone in your household has experienced depression, anxiety, suicidal ideation, or anything you may be seated. Stand up if you've seen or experienced violence in your home or your community. Stand up if you survived the global pandemic. Now, thank you all for standing up, sitting down. Life has its ups and downs. Many times you have to stand up for yourself, stand up on your word, stand up 10 toes down to reflect that you are going to be here for long. Stand up for what you believe in. But there's also a time to rest. There's a time to be still. There's a time to let the universe, the creator, the divine, the source, whatever, whomever, whatever you believe in, to speak to you. There's a time to recover. Rest is a revolutionary act. There's not enough pictures of our legends playing with their families. I just saw Dr. MLK, Reverend Dr. Brother MLK, Jr. Ride a bike like happily. Like I didn't know he smiled ever. Like I didn't know that was a thing, but we have to remember those moments. Rest is essential, right? Also, the questions I asked you are from what's called an ACEs survey. ACE is Adverse Childhood Experience, right? And then the S is for survey. According to people who do studies, according to statistics, people who score a 2 or higher, and honestly, the higher your score is, the more of those you stood up to. And I'm going to ask some more personal ones. That's your own business. You can take it. It's a 10-question survey. The higher you score, the more likely you are to face an early death. And that's because of substance abuse challenges. That's because of the lack of support, being able to earn your own income and do well for yourself and have your basic needs met, whether it's on Maslow, structural depression. There's different words for it, social determinants of health. But the point is, you've all already experienced life and proven that when life be life and you are still wolves that stand up and do what you need to do and get the work done to be here today. All right? So you've been shown that grit, and you're not a statistic. So the last thing I'll leave you with, I'm going to ask that you stand up, but when you stand up, I need us to keep it quiet because the microphones are cool, but I prefer it like this. All right? So if you can all stand up quietly, please. Now, typically, my first day, never forget it. Person no longer works here, stood up and said their name. They said, look to your left, look to your right. Someone statistically speaking, will not be here on graduation. So I want you to quickly look to your left and look to your right. And for faculty and staff, I'd like you to look back and just look at the eyes and the souls of the students around you. Now that's what they say, but we're not a statistic. Say, I'm not a statistic. I know that get a little funny. Let's try that one more time. I am not a statistic. Now, I want everyone to partner with someone to the right of them. If there's anyone without a partner, look the other direction. Look for someone to the right of them. Everyone under the sound of my voice, look at someone to the right of them. And you're going to repeat after me. Okay. I'm going to make it. I'm going to make it. You're going to make it. You're going to make it. Because we're going to help each other make it. Because we're going to help each other make it. Now, I want you to grab that person's hand like you mean it, like this. Oh, glad. Okay. All right? Look them in the eyes. Yeah. He's like an excited puppy. Now, repeat after me. I'm going to make it.
up Mr. George Walker and Mr. Kyle Walker. Next up, I'd like to ask our fearless leader.